want to celebrate that talent. It is a lost art, and sadly, you know, some of these model makers, they're not growing any younger, and once they're gone, who will carry on that legacy? And so if we can inspire somebody, you know, you can buy this from us if you haven't got the skills, but wouldn't it be great if, you know, if somebody got inspired to start building models from this? That would be awesome.
Well, so tell me the brief. You know, when you're working with a model maker to design a prototype of this, you guys are launching a couple ships, 3 of them Star Trek ships, Enterprise A clearly here. It's a wide range. Like, you're talking size, level of detail, how much interior, exterior detail. Like, tell me about the level that you guys want to go to.
We want to go to the max. I mean, we want to replicate the filming miniature as best we can. If it was on the miniature, we want to replicate it. Obviously, some of the lighting, the miniature may or may not have had, because it would be easier to add the lighting during different effects. But yes, as max detail, max quality. Just the Aztecing alone on the hull, the work, and it depends on the model as well. The hardest bit, actually, in the project is picking the ships.
Oh, really?
Which do you pick? Because they're all great.
Yeah.
We get to be the gatekeepers that say, well, we pick these 3 because we love them, but potentially the sky or the universe is the limit. And even if it modeled it, one of the interesting things that's been fun is we've actually started discussing and looking, and we will have some announcements on this soon, ships that have never had physical miniature models. They were all 100% digital. Right. It's going to be great to realize them in the physical space and be the first people to make them as a tangible physical object.
Do you have a sense of the type of research and the level of access model makers are getting to make sure this is as accurate as possible? They're obviously building with modern materials, modern technologies, but like, what's that level?
Yeah, well, most of them were involved in or with or tangentially in the original project. So that's number 1. You know, they were there on the ground, boots on the ground doing it, so they know what was done and how it was done. And then they have a wealth. I mean, they're not just model makers. These guys have a wealth of just personal experience, but also resource, with photographs, behind the scenes. And Paramount gives us phenomenal resource. They have a fantastic archive. The guys that run the archive there are the unsung heroes of Star Trek. They maintain this. I mean, to see it, honestly, you stand there with your mouth open and you just think, like, you know, it's nirvana for Trek fans, but they do that for people like us as licensees. When we come to them and say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z, and then they provide it for us in triplicate, you know, and it's like, wow, that's an amazing level of detail. But that personal involvement from the model makers themselves, you know, those Polaroids that were taken and not necessarily for any other reason than maybe, you know, nobody thought they were ever going to be, you know, I need a model commission for a movie and I need it yesterday. They never thought that they'd be making it again and again and again 20, 30, 40 years later. But yeah, that's you know, straight from the horse's mouth. That's the provenance that you get. And then you have to look at some things that were maybe adapted or adjusted. You know, there were no LEDs on most of these. So how does the light look when it was a halogen bulb? Or how does the light look? Little artistic choices and things. And the main thing, make it look good as a display piece. When it sits here and it sort of smacks you in the face with its detail, it's got to jump and punch out at you.
Well, I think that's one of the differences between Star Trek and maybe some of the other science fiction franchises that have beautiful ships. That Star Trek, especially in Star Trek Motion Picture, I'm talking about the refit. Like, you really gaze on the ship. They hang those shots on the ship, and that's experience as a fan watching the movie that I want to have at home. Where like, I'm really staring at this for hours. The power's gonna be on. I want every time when I look at this to notice a new detail. Right. And to that point,
and that does happen. I've done that myself. I mean, I feel like intimately aware of this ship, and I vividly remember being maybe like, I don't know, 8 years old, watching the motion picture and seeing that 20-minute sequence of, and I was like, it's real.
Yes.
But it wasn't real. But in my head, it was real, and I was like, wow. And then suddenly, you know, there's some depth to this thing that's not just a ship. But I have been sitting looking at this thing for months and months and months, and I do regularly find myself going, and then, you know, pull out old reference photos. And we were just talking the other day about how, you know, these little grey squares on the nacelles, how they don't appear to be visible on screen, but you take a real nice 4K screenshot, you look, and they are there. And what are they? Not even a millimeter in diameter, and they're all individually painted too.
I mean, in terms of model making, that level of detail and all the things like the interiors helps communicate scale.
Yes.
Right? I think, you know, we Star Trek fans, we have the technical manual. We know the Enterprise D is the size of the Paramount parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, what is the Enterprise A? What is that supposed to be? but once you see that interior of the shuttle bay,
and where we can, like in the Arboretum, where you've got little people. The people suddenly give you that, wow, it's a thing. And if you've ever been up close to a big vehicle like a Boeing 747 or a military ship or a vessel, you sort of stand there and you get the breadth of its enormity, and then you sort of can in your head imagine, oh well, I can see how this would sit next to an aircraft carrier or a Boeing 747. You could probably land a Boeing 747 on the ditch.
It's gorgeous, but that's just one of the ships.
Yeah,
Can we
just
take
one.
a look at the other ones?
Absolutely. We have many more.
Let's walk